Heritage Foundation, a prominent conservative group here in Washington, has been floating the idea that a significant portion of Biden's signatures weren't his original, rather generated by the Autopen, and raising the question of who had control over what. Thus the post from President Trump today. Now, to be clear, there is not any hard evidence that anyone did anything wrong. Add to that, presidents using the Autopen is nothing new. Just in this century alone, George W. Bush's Department of Justice provided guidance that it's legal, even though Bush reportedly didn't like the concept of the Autopen. The Obama White House cited the Bush White House. Quote, the Obama administration concurred with that legal analysis. And even Trump today described how he has used the Autopen in the past.
Yeah, only for very unimportant papers. And I don't call them unimportant. If you do letters where people write in and, they'd love to have a response, and we'll write responses, and I'll sign them whenever I can, but when I can't, I, would use an Autopen. But to use them for what they've used them for is terrible.
But here is what conservatives seem to be getting at. For example, here was the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, earlier this year. He shared a conversation that he had in private with President Biden about an executive order that the president had just signed. Watch.
He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country?
That is what the House Speaker claims. Joining me now, Mick Mulvaney, NewsNation contributor, former Trump White House Chief of Staff, Jesse Weber, NewsNation legal contributor. Hello to you both. Happy Monday. We're talking about an Autopen. Here we are. You were going to tell me, sir, all the different ways and why and when Trump used this as the Chief of Staff. Yeah. He hit on it there. He used to actually use this.
Sure. They all use them, and we generally use them for unimportant things.
Okay.
You write letters. There's bunches of reports presidents have to sign off on. And you go and you say, Mr. President, we're going to sign this using the pen. He's like, fine.
Right.
So that's not the issue, I don't think, and Jesse can get into this as well. The issue is whether or not it was actually Biden telling people to do it. If you were the staff secretary, if you were the vice president, if you were the spouse of the first lady, you can't go in and say, put the president's signature on this. Right. Only the president can do that, and I think that's the issue here. Not the use of the Autopen, but whether or not Biden actually approved of the use or directed the use.
When did you use the Autopens? The president sort of outlined it there
all the time.
In 1.0.
You do regular correspondence to people. Again, minor reports. We have to sign off on a bunch of stuff. I think the most serious thing we probably ever used the Autopen for was for declarations of emergency.
Okay.
During
natural disasters
and
like
stuff.
that.
If he's traveling on a plane or if he's gone or if he's not there, we call him, say, Mr. President, use the Autopen. But that's it. We never use them for. You can use them for pardons. Don't get me wrong. You can use them for anything. That's not the issue here. The issue is whether or not Biden knew that that's.
I'm going to get to that in a second. So, Jesse, for most folks, they're hearing about the Autopen for the first time, and the president today says all of a sudden these pardons are null and void. From the legal side, that ain't the case, right?
No, it's interesting. I will tell you, there's one other thing to add. So the Department of Justice, I believe in 2005, issued a guidance that a president doesn't actually have to affix their signature to a bill for it to become law, and even specifically said you can use an Autopen to do this. Now, hindsight's 2020. Probably should have handwritten that pardon, considering how important it was, this idea of preemptive pardons. I mean,
by the way, let me stop you there. We haven't seen the documents ourselves, right? So, like. But continue.
But here's the other issue. They make the idea, okay, an Autopen was used, and that would suggest that he didn't sign it, didn't know about it, didn't approve it. Remember, Biden also issued a letter, a statement in connection with those pardons. So the idea that he didn't know about it, you need a lot more evidence to suggest that there was somehow done without his knowledge at this point.
But this is what you and I were talking about.
So why is Trump going down this route?
Look at it backwards. Why is he doing it? I think he's trying to raise the issue. He's trying to raise the question about Biden's mental capacity at the time. And look, there's one easy way to fix this. Joe Biden could have come off his front door this morning, talked to the press and said, yeah, I signed all those things. What's the big deal? And closed the door. And this would be over. And that hasn't happened yet. So I think what Trump is doing is trying to raise this issue of whether or not Biden was mentally capable to doing this at the time that he did.
Jesse,
and just one more thing to add. The reason he wants to do it, he wants to go after everybody. He wants to go after Fauci. He wants to go after the January 6th committee. I think he wants to go after them as much as he wants to.
But he can go after them anyway. And that's what people, I think, miss about pardons. You can still do the investigations, right? Congress can do investigations. DOJ can even do investigations. You just can't charge people who have been pardoned. And I think, so that's what's lost here. You can do all the investigating you want. A pardon doesn't stop that.
Yeah, but doing an investigation without an outcome of criminal charges would feel, I think, on its face would look wrong. I mean, obviously there's state charges, but I think he wants to have an opening in order to properly investigate them and possibly charge them.
Do you think that's the case? That he wants to go after these folks?
Oh, definitely. I think he absolutely definitely wants to. There's no question. But he could do the investigation regardless.
All right. Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.